ready in 3, 2. There you go. Iconic Magazine, Iconic Radio, Thizzle. They always say the homie Thizzle, because he is like a homie to so many people. Thizzle, what's going on with you today?
Man, good, man. I heard maintain it, man.
Indeed. The album, Fallen King. You know what? We gotta hop right into the graphic work.
Yeah.
Tell us about the graphic work, the old crown, the dirt. Where did that come from?
It was kind of this visual when I thought about the title of the album. I'm one of the movie dudes like 300, Braveheart, you know what I'm saying, Gladiator. So when I thought about the record and I thought about Fallen King, first thing I thought, I'm like, man, crown in the dirt, you know what I'm saying, broke blood on it. And I went to my graphic dude, Joe, from Texas, Waco, Texas, hit him up like, man, I want to do this record, Fallen King. And he was like, I said, you know what? But I said, I ain't going to tell you my idea. I want to see what you going to come up with.
Wow.
And so he hit me right back and was like, bro, I got it. Crown in the dirt. Boom, boom. So I'm like, bro, we had the same exact idea.
Wow.
And we went from that point just like kind of hashing it out and just detailing it. We detailed on it for like 3 or 4 months, and it became what it is.
That's an amazing, and some albums will catch you.
Yeah.
Aesthetics or whatever with the visual and the graphics, but that sucker with the name and the graphic work is a beautiful mix.
Appreciate it, homie.
Great work.
I wanted to have that movie cover look feel,
right?
Because a lot of the music on the record, it has that kind of, you know, outside of the trap beats, it has everything else has that movie feel to it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's what I was shooting for.
So let's hop into it then. The name Fallen King.
Yeah.
Tell us about it. What was your heart behind it? Where did it come from in you?
Man, it kind of it has a narrow meaning and a bigger meaning. The narrow meaning, when I do stuff in the inner cities, or I do juveniles in jails, or just being in the hood, hanging around my partners, or how I grew up. When I look at African Americans and the African American community, like our identity as a group of people, like it starts with slavery. We have no lineage past slavery because slavery broke all that up. Right. So you see every other people group in the world, they know like my people from here, we from there, the Jews, we from here, we from this, you know, whatever the nationality may be, people can link back to something that's usually much greater than they are, and it challenges them to move forward and leave some kind of legacy. So with African Americans, with our lineage being broken as slavery, we gotta look back and see, even though we can't directly connect it to a certain specific thing all the time, when you look at the pyramids, you look at Egypt, you look at the writing on the wall, you look at King Solomon talking about the Queen of Egypt in his days, like these were black people, you know what I'm saying? When you look at Africans before slavery and after, you have kings and queens amongst the people group. So when I look at the community and I look at the people around, I look and I see fallen kings, you know what I'm saying? So that's where it came from, and my goal as a minister of the gospel, I want to connect them to the risen king, who is Jesus, you know what I mean? So
that is so amazing, because we know what we get from Thizzle. And you always throw so many curveballs in your music, but you still keep it so much to the ground, to the ground where you came up from, and what resonated with you, what you saw, to have an album. Because I'm getting people now who didn't know, they knew about you, but say, you know what, this album is amazing. Where you been? And I'm like, where you been at?
Right. I always challenge myself with records. Like I give people what they expect, but I always challenge myself when I go into making albums that I want to do something different. I always try to do something bigger than where I am at that moment. You know, like with the record Fallen King that's on the album. Like I feel like that record is bigger than where I am. It's bigger than me as an artist. And I always try to challenge myself to do that stuff every time. So the people that, when I have the people every album that say, oh, he just rap about hood stuff, they pick the record up and be like, man, but you heard B King, you heard Fallen King, you know, you heard Inside Out, you know, whatever other records you heard on the album, and it always gives them something different. And even if I'm gonna do trap music, I try to do it at a level that's still excellent, where it ain't the same normal, but it's music that, even if it got that trap sound and hood feel, I try to still do something that's gonna be big, you know. So I appreciate the people that jump on at the last minute.
Oh, yeah,
at least they own.
At least they own.
Yeah.
Now, was this album difficult? Did it pull out of you? Was it one of your hardest to write, or take us to the writing process?
It was fun. Like I started working on the album, it was originally an EP. So I went in working on the album, it was an EP, man. I recorded the EP though in 2 days.
So how many songs is that?
I recorded like 4 or 5 songs in 2 days. So I literally went in like 8 hours, like 4 hours one day, 4 hours another day, and I did 4 songs and I already had a song. So I had the EP done, and I'm like, man, so much more I want to say.
Right.
So I looked and said, I really need to be working on the album anyway. Started working on the album, and I did something that I normally don't do. I said, I'm not even going to create an outdate. I'm just about to start working on songs. So I started recording, didn't have an outdate, so there wasn't no pressure.
Right.
So it was fun doing the record. I looked up and did different research and different stuff, and it was the easiest record I think I've recorded.
Wow.
But it gave me more opportunity because I didn't have an outdate.
Right.
When I listened to a song 5, 6, 7, 8 times, usually when you rush to a deadline, you don't hear it that many times because you got to turn it in.
Right.
So this time I was able to listen 5, 10, 15 times and say, man, I wish I would have done this. But we got the room to go in and actually do that.
Right.
Man, I wish I would have did this, but we got the room to go in and do that. So it was fun, man. It was fun to do the record.
Something that I picked up on the last time that you had performed the same, I forgot what concert it was. Maybe it was the Crayon.
Right, yeah, May 17th, last year, same day.
Indeed.
Yeah. Same place, too.
Right. You looked up and said, I got my homies here with me in the back.
I ain't here tonight.
Now, when I walked in the hood, I knew exactly who they were.
Yeah.
They standing there.
Yeah.
Like, it could go down.
Yeah.
What about you, Thizzle, coming from where you came from, how so many guys look at guys who came out the hood and leave the hood, in essence, you know what I'm saying, that you're able to still go back other than the grace of God. What do you think about you that connects with them, that they receive you, it seems like, they even more now, they receive you back. What about, and that's one of the most fascinating things that I love how God used you. What do you, other than the grace of God, what about that, or what about you think that they see, that they still resonate with, or they resonate at a different level?
Most people completely disconnect. Like I didn't completely disconnect. I separated long enough to get my mind right, to get my walk right, you know, for the Lord to build me up. But I never fully disconnected. So my partners, they still know, like I love them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like when it's family functions, I'm there. When it's this going on, I'm there. When they need me, they calling me 2, 3 in the morning. So when I can do something to take them places, I'm taking them on the road with me. You know, all of this. So I never disconnected from them. Most people disconnect and go away,
right,
and then try to talk back into a culture that they're not a part of.
Right.
Most people in the Christian community usually get it mixed up when they look at what I do and they think I'm trying to make music to fit in, but it's actually the other way around. I'm making music from out of the culture. I'm not making music looking into the hood. I'm making music out of the hood as a Christian. So I'm still connected in the neighborhood. Like I still go on the block. I still see my partners whenever I ain't on the road. And even not just with them, like I'm around in the city. I'm making my business to connect with different people, different dudes that ain't Christian. So like I make music out of the culture, not into it. And my friends and my partners, they respect that. They hear tonight. The hood. When I come to St. Louis, the hood coming out. Like everybody coming out. Like people saw that last time, like at the Cray concert.
Yeah.
People was like, man, like it's some people heard that. But when I say I'm coming to do a show, they want to come out and see it because they understand. Like when I did Motivation, I wasn't just talking. Like my hood, the hood love me because they know that I'm just like them, and it get them something to identify with.
Right.
They can look and say, man, he can do what I can do. You know, so
right.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I never disconnected. I stay connected to them. I'm always letting them know that I'm here, and they respect that.
Wow, and that's true ministry to be able to do that. And so, when you come to the city, you had your album release.
Yeah.
All kind. Well, you had your listening session.
Yeah.
All kind of the DJs and everything was there.
Yeah.
Like, how was that feeling? Like, how did that make you feel? Because it made me feel good just seeing the photos of it.
Yeah.
To see, hearing your testimony, where you came from, where you at, and the city and the DJs.
Yeah.
I'm sure the love and the support.
Yeah. It was crazy, man. It was crazy. I remember the day we did the event. I was thinking for a minute, like, man, I wonder how many people gonna show up. You know what I'm saying? And then once it got to going on, like we just looking up, man, it's just people on top of people. And most people that aren't from here, they don't know the magnitude of that.
Right.
Like those DJs like in the room, like none of them were quote unquote Christian DJs.
Right.
Those were the DJs from 104.1, from the clubs. Like those were all the DJs that are playing all the records that you heard on the radio.
Right.
So they came out and listened to the stuff, man. They loved it. It was an amazing feeling, man. I was happy to be. Like people always say, the forerunner, the trailblazer. You like, I'm not in it for glory, but the trailblazers, they always be the ones that get killed. Right. You know what I'm saying? They be the ones that people say, ah. Right. So just to be able to do stuff like that and lay the foundation for dudes that's gonna come after me. You know what I'm saying? Where now those DJs. Beforehand, they may have been a little apprehensive when they heard a person say, "Oh, dude, he hood, but he rap, he a Christian too." Like, oh, no. Right. But because they were able to come in and sit in, get to hear my heart, get to hear music, for the next person, it won't be that hard. Right. You know what I'm saying? For them to say, hey, because even since then, like 104.1 on the STL playlist, they actually started looking for other Christian local dudes to play their stuff. Wow. So they've been playing Scooter, they've been playing Al Cam, they've been playing Steve T stuff. Right. And Sir Thurl was like, man, when I heard your stuff, I looked at some of them other dudes. Wow. You know what I'm saying? So it opens the door for other people to do stuff, but naturally, if I would have told somebody that's what I was planning to do, you would have had people that been like, why, what for? Right. But that's the goal. The city set on the hill can't be hid. Like God didn't like this light to put it under a shade. So I'm trying to get it in, man. I'm about to change the world, man. You know, at the end of the day, that's the goal. We trying to change the world. So
that's the reason why we love and appreciate this one so much. You always gonna get real, you're gonna get the raw, you're gonna get the ministry, you're gonna get the word of God, number one, and the passion behind them. Listen, Fallen King, go get it. The album cover is just so dope, like it pulls you in visually. Then when you check it out, when you check out the album, then when you go through the Fallen King with Mars is on there, right? Yeah. Mars just said it. Oh, it's something about that voice. Yeah, her voice. What song on the album? If nobody said, I want to listen to one song on your album, Dizzle, which one would you recommend for them?
If I had to pull one out, dang. At first, I would have to say it would depend on the person.
Gotcha.
Because I think certain songs would fit certain people. Right. But if I had to pull one song off of there, just the overall, what I would want to be heard, it would have to be BK. It would have to be BK. If I could give them one song to listen to, not knowing if they'll listen to anything else, but they gotta hear this, I would say BK. Yeah, that would be the one.
Take My Life.
Oh yeah.
Got so much love and so much attention from it. Yeah. We appreciate and Flame and Jason. Yes. The video. Yeah. The video, and then I don't want to ruin it, but at how it ended, you're like, no, it didn't end like that. Yeah. It has been, I don't know if we call it a trend or not. Take My Life, You Can Take My Life, and Signed Up to Die. Yeah. I feel like we really get your real heart behind ministry and your position with God, like this is real. Yeah. Kind of tell the people a little bit of that, and where does that come from? Because those songs come off so real with you.
Like I said, I love the movies like Braveheart, Gladiator, and stuff like that. I love those type of movies. So when I do those type of records and I get to project like the Christian mindset, especially when talking about stuff like persecution and things like that, like it's a passion of mine, and it by the grace of God, it just usually translates on the records. Like you get the right beat, the right vibe, and it just translates. So with both of those songs, that's what it was. When I heard Signed Up to Die beat, it just had the right feel to it to translate the message. When I heard Take My Life, it had the right feel, you know, to translate the message. And it's crazy to see Take My Life just be, to see it watched in the countries, like looking at the analytics on YouTube and seeing it being watched in those countries that Christian persecution is big, you know, so.
When we're sheltered from that, we really don't see it. We don't see that. We might get talked about. We get some persecution, but not like that. Not like that.
Most of our persecution, it ain't even real persecution.
You're right.
Like my boss told me to cut down the Christian radio song.
He's keeping me down.
Right, that ain't
of God.
Like he telling you to cut your music down because you working.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like, we get persecuted and stuff happen to us, people talk about us, but man, when you look at situations like right now in Nigeria, you know, where they literally go into this one village and just constantly just burning down the churches, kidnapping people, killing the pastors, where pastors are scared to even go and be a pastor. You know, like, when we look at stuff like that, it's like, it makes me put my stuff in perspective.
Right.
Like, I complain over baby stuff, little stuff, myself personally.
Yeah,
a lot of times, like, yeah, I complain about the dumbest things in the world, and then I get an email from somebody saying, read this, and it's like, dang, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So
we always get the real from Thizzle. We appreciate him. Iconic Magazine, Iconic Radio. Go get the album, Fallen King. You're going to love it. We're here at the Blackout Circuit. This is the second year it's going out. We in St. Louis, our city. You know Thizzle rep the city. Stay tuned. God bless you. Iconic.
Iconic Radio. Iconic Radio.